Good evening, folks. Welcome back. 2 nights in a row. Not too bad this week, not too shabby. I thought it was Tuesday, but I was reminded earlier it's actually only Monday, but for some reason, I think because the schools are off, every day's with the weekend. But anyway, tonight we are joined by a brand new guest.
How you doing?
Kat from, I was going to say Unblocked Paranormal. It's Unlocked Paranormal. Does anybody ever do that? Does anybody ever call you Unblocked?
No, you're the first person.
Am I the first? Oh, well, I feel privileged in that I'm the first person. So this is our first time meeting Kat, and I've been looking forward to chatting because she comes through the same neck of the woods that I used to stay in before I moved back to Glasgow, so I know exactly where she... No, I don't know exactly where she lives. I know the area. I don't know her house number and street and stuff like that, but I know where she... to say general vicinity. I don't know, I freak you there, Kat. I know where you live, kind of thing. You come out tomorrow morning and I'm sitting in your head with a flask and a pair of binoculars and a notebook. Do you know what I mean? There's me, Eileen, in for Phantom Seekers Paranormal. She's in town. Eileen was late last night. She came in about 15, 20 minutes after we started, but she's on time tonight. So you're forgiven for last night, Eileen, because you showed up on time tonight. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk to Kat and find out who Unlocked Paranormal are, etc. So I'll hand it over to you, Kat. Do your sales pitch bit.
My sales pitch? Oh God, there's not really much to sell. So I'll go right back to Ergo days. Before we were Unlocked Paranormal, me and my husband, we'd go to other events, other paranormal events with other teams. We'd been doing that for years, so we've got years of experience, but not through us, because at that point we hadn't been developed yet. And as time went on, we thought we could maybe give this a go ourselves, branch out, cover more locations, meet more people, like-minded folk. So we did, but we were a bit stupid and decided the best time to start Unlocked Paranormal was during COVID, when everything was in lockdown. But we thought, that'll give us time to get our business plan. I say business plan, it's not a business, it's a hobby. But get a plan, get equipment, see about getting venues, all the usual stuff like that. We built our Facebook page, tried to build up a following, and then just started going to events and inviting the public. We also do our own private events, just like any other paranormal team. Pretty run of the mill, and we try and cover as far and wide as possible, but so far it's mostly been the central belt and down towards the borders. We've not really branched further north yet, more so just because it's quite a big distance. I'm trying to get we've got, is it 8 in our team? Try to get dates where we can all come together can be difficult. So we're from the west of Scotland as well, so it's easier staying here and just a wee bit down south. And that's pretty much us. There's nothing really.
So you're kind of similar to us. I mean, I've been into the paranormal for, years. Going back to when I was late teens kind of thing. And it was just before lockdown that we started. I think we started, was it in May or something?
Yeah.
Around about May. Before it all kicked out. I think the pandemic was just kind of starting out then. And we'd only done 2 or 3 investigations in Edinburgh, what have you, and then lockdown came. Mm-hmm. And we thought, right, well, what can we do? We can't go anywhere. Everybody's locked up. So that's how we started the podcast. But I mean, like you said, we'd never done anything like this before in our life. We expected to last maybe a month. Because, Sarah, that's well, we didn't have a clue. There's Laura, and Laura's one of ours. They're a good friend as well, so we can stop panicking because Laura is here. We are safe. We're safe. So we'd never done it before. Didn't have a clue about how to run a Facebook page or anything like that. We thought we'd last maybe a month at the best. And we thought, well, we can't go anywhere, so what are we going to do? And so, well, why don't we just start talking to people? Everybody's in the same bucket. Nobody can go anywhere. And our first few shows were an absolute down the toilet. They were just a riot, basically, because we'd never done podcasts and interviewed people, and we thought, well, we'll keep going at it. You know, so really 5 years down the line, we're still here, but we're a lot the same as you. Just starting out. But what you were saying about the organisation, we used to have a big team and try to organise dates to even go on a simple investigation was a blooming nightmare.
We're all fortunate. We all knew each other before we put the team together. I worked with a lot of folk. I'm married to one of them, and it was it was a hobby and a passion that kind of just turned into like a wee. I keep saying business, but it's not a business. We thought was we want to do it more, but we didn't want to have to rely on going to other teams or other events because they were few and far between, or they were maybe not the wrong location, but maybe too far, like for distance, or again trying to get us all together to try and book tickets. So we thought, well, why don't we just do it ourselves? Why don't we just come together as a group and we could just do our own thing? And don't get me wrong, see the first one that we did, I was cacking my pants, like having the public. I was always used to someone else leading the way and telling me what to do and what the evening was going to be. And then all of a sudden it was me and people were coming to me saying, Kat, where are we going now? What are we doing? And I was thinking, I don't know. But you get, as you know, like the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And meeting, again, I didn't realise there were so many people who had the same interests and wanted to know more about the paranormal and Scottish history as well in general. And then doing it, you realise, oh my God, this isn't a fringe topic anymore. There's a lot of people interested in this. So it was great to actually branch out and start meeting the public and folk like yourselves and getting a chat.
I'm just going to stick this comment up for Laura. I'll need to speak. And I know a small team with me, the wifey, and you, dear. Explain that one. Laura's a good friend. We've known her, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. But she refers to my half as her wifey. And for people that don't know, we've had some funny looks, when Laura will say, because everybody knows Sarah and I's a couple, and when Laura turns around and says, Sarah's my wife, they kind of go, that confused Labrador look, the kind of, and so you feel you need to kind of explain it. So I've explained it, Laura. All right. I hope that makes sense, Kat, But no, you're right. We found that as well, the amount of people that are actually into the paranormal that you don't realise until you start doing, things with investigations or podcasts, etc. And actually, there's a few people, since we've been doing the podcast, we've met people, sounds big-headed, it's not meant to be, we've met people that we would never have met in our life. Because we're just a couple for Kilmarnock, and also we get Laura on board as well. But we're just a small team for Kilmarnock. We're nothing big or fancy or anything. But I don't know if you've watched the Saw films or no. I'm going to name drop here for once. Have you watched the Saw films?
I think I've seen maybe the first 1 or 2. They're not really my forte, that type of film.
I'm a massive Saw fan, but however, well, one of the guys, Detective Hoffman, he's one of the main characters. I had him on the show last year.
Wow.
And you're thinking, Patty Negri, folk like that. And it's people you would never have thought you would have met yourself, Eileen as well. She's a good pal of ours. She's been on a few times. Here we go. She's Laura on board too. Laura is the beauty in the team. Laura, we all know that I am the eye candy. I shaved this morning. I am the eye candy. You know what I mean? So we were saying, it's the amount of people they actually meet, and it's like a whole separate community, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
You get to know these people, and some of them are near enough family. We've got a team coming on Wednesday. It was one of the first team we interviewed way back, and they're more like family than friends. But you form a kind of bond sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. So before we started, one of the teams that we we spoke to. It's a chap called Paul. Is it Scottish Paranormal? That's terrible. I can't remember. But they used to run the investigations at Bannockburn House, and they are some of the nicest people that you could ever meet. And when we got chatting, and when we were just trying to get up and running, they gave us so much like sound advice, and they were so helpful. Like even now, I've got our friends now, and just finding that everyone was so keen to offer advice and help. And initially, before we started, there was this fear that Paul Hannon, that's him, that's the man, that's the very man. Just before we started, I thought, oh, what if we're stepping on toes? What if there's other, like, down Falkirk Way or like in other places? What if there's like a territorial thing and like we're a new team? And there was none of that. Everyone's been so kind, and it's like you're saying, it is a community that's just banded together, and everyone wants to see everyone succeed. Because really, at the end of the day, it's about gathering evidence of the paranormal, isn't it? And the more of us that's doing that, then the more chance there is for us to find evidence.
Aye, exactly. Eileen's saying Scottish hauntings.
Scottish hauntings.
Eileen knows everybody. Because Eileen knows the world. But there's a lot of nice folk in the para community. She is right, with the good comes the bad, obviously, Kat. Unfortunately, there are people there, and we've had the misfortune of meeting some of them.
So far, I've been lucky that I've not met any of the stinkers yet, but I'm pretty sure my time will come soon.
Oh, your time will come, because there's quite a few about, and they're in it for, ego, for followers, for money, for, you name it. They want to be the next Zach Baggins or whoever. And they come up with a whole load of crap. Some just date to try and be better than you.
Yeah. And it's like, better at what? What is there to be, like, there's... I don't know.
That's it. It's not a competition. They see it as a kind of, oh, well, they went to one location and they got 5 hits on the K2. So we're going to go to this location and we'll say we get 10.
Yeah.
And money, pardon me, money and ego causes many. It does. Yeah. Would you say competition? What's the competition for?
Yeah, because there's no prizes at the end. And it's not like nobody's publishing scientific papers on the paranormal. It's not to get like kudos. It's not like, as much as we believe in the paranormal and we're looking for evidence, it's still in the scientific realm and the normal realm. It still is a fringe subject. So what are they trying to be? What is this competition? Because it's not to get anything published. It's not to get. They're not going to win a Nobel Prize in the paranormal, are they? It's just a strange.
Exactly. I've got a comment for Horace a couple of weeks ago. I've said that a few times. There's no prizes. There's no Oscars. There's no award ceremony for the greatest capture or bollocks like that kind of thing. Laura, people forget about finding answers. We all do it for the same reason. Exactly. I like your opinion on this. My view is we do it because we love doing it. Obviously, we're interested in the paranormal and history, obviously, because the two go hand in hand. But we do it because we love it. We do it because, we're not trying to ram it down other people's throats. We're not trying to be the ones that stand up on the big pedestal and say, right, we proved it. We proved definitely life after death. We're the best. Bollocks. But you get these people, that's what they're trying to do. We have proved there's life after. Let's face it, we've all had good captures at the end of the day at some point or another. And if you get a good capture, you give yourself a wee pat in the back. Well, that was a good night. That's a good wee capture. We got our EVP, whatever it might be. That was a good wee capture. We go there. But you move on. And you can put, some folk put up on their page or whatever, say, this is what we found. But it's these people that say, they post on the page, apparition here. This is an apparition. you know, and then they put the circles and the big arrows pointed, like Beetlejuice. Bang, bang, bang. I would prefer them just put the photo up and let other people look at it and make up their own mind, you know, because we all see things different, you know. But no doubt you have done it, you have looked at photographs and maybe think you see a face, and somebody else has looked at it and they've seen a brick wall. Whatever.
It's as much as I would love there to be definitive proof, there's a wee part of me that doesn't ever want it to be proven because it'll take away the mystery. I like the mystery. I like that we may never ever have an answer. We might have an answer one day, who knows? Some scientists might develop a phone for the dead. But I like the mystery. I like that there's always that question of, is there not? And then you'll get people who, and it'll come up, I've had it in conversation with loads of folk that they'll say, I don't believe in any of that. And you'll say, will you sit and do a Ouija board? And they'll go, no, that's just in case. That's dangerous. I'm like, well, if you don't believe, then why are you scared of a board with some letters on it? And they'll say, just in case, just because you never know. So there's always that wee element of mystery. We'll never be able to prove it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good thing because it keeps the conversation going. It keeps it intriguing and interesting. And when it comes to experience, people want you to tell. People will ask you, have you ever seen a ghost? What have you experienced? But they want you to try and prove to them that it's real. And I'll always say, it's not my job to prove to other people that there's an afterlife or ghost exists. It's a very, very personal thing. You need to have your own experience before you believe. Mm-hmm. There's people that sit on the fence and there's total non-believers, and there's people that 100% believe. But until you've had your own paranormal experience, whatever that is, you will never truly believe. You'll never have someone be able to tell you a story and make you a believer. You need to experience it for yourself.
Aye, 1,000%. I'll finish comment and I'll come back to what you were saying. Some do it to stroke their egos and to get followers and likes and make money along the way. Exactly. You know, you get these people, please follow us, please like your video. We've never ever asked for people to follow us because we're kind of the mindset that I'd rather somebody followed us because they wanted to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if you ask somebody to follow you, then they feel obliged to do it, and they might not be all that interested in what you're doing. They say, well, he's asked me, so I need to give him a wee follow. But I would rather somebody came about in their own sort of, what's the saying, their own fuel, or there's a saying for it, under their own steam, kind of thing, and say, right, I'm going to follow them because they look interested. I want to see, I'm nosy, I want to see what they do, you know. We will never know till we cross the veil. Well, hold on. Aye, until we cross that. Exactly, that's it reminds me of Playground Antics. If one team does one location and gets evidence, another team does the same location and gets better evidence, it's jelly. It's jelly. I was going to say it's jelly. I won't fire this. That's what happens, you do 2 shows in a row. It's jealousy. It's immature and gives Paranormal Unity a bad name. Mm-hmm. I totally agree, Kat. You need that experience. Just 2 good points over the comments. You know, we've heard that before. We went to a location and, you know, we might not get a lot of evidence. Because you know yourself, Kat, it's not the spirit whether the gear's anything or not, you know. But just because we don't get into it, just to say there's nothing there. But then you get other teams will go in and do it and say, we get this and we get that, and what an amazing night and blah, blah, blah. But you never see any proof. They never post on their page. They just say, and I could sit down the noon type, we had an amazing night, you know, at Tesco last night with the activity, blah, 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 bang, post. And folk are just meant to believe that. Well, a load of bollocks. But it's when they, you know, well, if you've got something, if you're going to make a statement, then prove it. Have something to back it up, you know. But I mean, folk says to me, you know, prove to me the paranormal's you. I say, well, I can't prove it to you. I cannot prove it to you. Maybe somebody else can, but I can't. And exactly what you said, Kat, I think everybody has to experience it for themselves. Mm-hmm. You know, we done an investigation a couple of years ago now down near Castle. And we've been there a few times. One guy came along with his other half, and he wasn't a believer. And we says to him, look, we're not here to convince you, just come along, see what happens. So we got quite lucky that night as it happened, because he was getting words and messages that related to him. So he came away with a kind of different point of view. And then we weren't doing cartways, oh, you ever proved it, but we just say, so what did you think? So, well, maybe there is something to this. So we'll just go away and have a wee think and make up your own mind. That's all you can do. We're not going to tell you, well, you've seen what happened, so it's 100% true because you've seen it. And just, if it meant something to you personally, then we're happy. It's great you've had that experience and it made you kind of start to think now maybe there is something. I mean, without mentioning a certain team, think loud and think gravestone. I know the team she means. I can't mind the gravestone thing. Loudon Cut is a place. I'm going to speak to you after the show, but it's about 10-15 minutes drive. We've been working there for about 3 years now. About a lot of evidence. I'm trying to think what Laura mean. A certain team. I know who the team she means. I should think gravestone. So you need to give me another clue, Laura, dog. Sorry. I can't put my finger on that button. That'll annoy me now until she does. But no, it's just, we can't prove it's real. Know that you have had your investigations, you've had things that you can't explain.
Mm-hmm. I find a lot of investigations, it's a tactile experience. So it's something that you can't capture. You can't capture it on film. You can't record it on a voice recorder because it's all about your own sensations and how you feel at the time. And how they say your hackles go up, or you just you got all that goosebump way, or your own gut and your own instincts, and even like the way places can change. So it's going to sound really woo-woo when I say this, but just the energy changes and the atmosphere changes. They're the things that make people think, oh, wait a minute, there's something happening here. But you can't record that. And then when later on they try and explain it to someone else, they're like, oh, it doesn't sound like anything now, and I'm trying to explain it. But see, when I was there, it felt like this, and this happened. So a lot of it, you need to be there at the time to experience it and feel it. And I think folk, they just really want to see it black and white on video, and then even if they do, they go, oh, well, it can be faked. But people want hard proof. They don't understand the feeling is also proof.
They don't. I know exactly what you mean, and it doesn't sound woo-woo. We talk about a lot about Loudon Kirk on our shows because that's second home to us, basically. But the atmosphere, we all know, I know exactly 100%. Sarah and Laura know as well. Eileen as well, because Eileen was there 3 weeks ago. Yesterday, she was there with us behind Paranormal. Loudon Cut is exactly like that. You get to a certain time of night, and I always say it's around about 9 o'clock. Now, I know Spirit, as far as we know, hasn't any awareness of time, but it just seems to be after sort of 9 o'clock, the whole atmosphere shifts. Some people could argue, because it gets dark, which is a fair point. It gets dark, so your perception does change somewhat, but you 100% Kat, what you're saying, you feel it. And we've been allowed to cut it. One night I was there and I felt that there was a man standing right behind me, just staring. And I expected to turn around and see him, but obviously never seen anything. But you could feel that he was standing there. And as you see, you can't explain that to people. You can tell them about it, but you'll never make them understand it unless they go and experience it themselves. And what Laura's talking about is it was former team members of ours. They did Loudon Kirk, and one of their members, shall we say, this is the other thing, they suddenly become mediums. know if you ever find that these people overnight become their own mediums now. And so one night they were doing an investigation. We were watching it. They were doing it live, and this young lassie standing there and said, "Oh, this guy's name's such and such. I think his name was Thomas." And it was connected to the Covenanters, and she was giving dates and stuff because she was a medium. So the next time we were there, I was standing in the same spot that she was standing in, and I noticed, no doubt you see they put headstones on walls as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was a headstone right beside me, and I turned around and I looked at it, and it was word for word of what this lassie had said. I thought, wait a minute, she was reading off that bloody headstone. This is who she was talking about. And she was standing right at, so she's also been looking at the headstone and, oh, his name is Thomas, it was 16, blah, 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 and it was a Covenanter. That's where she got it from. She's just reading it off the headstone. Do you know what I mean? Has anyone else been hearing whispering? You hearing whispering, Dee?
No.
Laura can hear whispering. We had this last night, but turned out one of our other sets of headphones was still connected to the PC. I don't know. Can you hear whispering, Kat?
No, I can't.
I think it must be just you, doll. Because it's no, we can't hear nothing. Some places just they just see you walk into a place and it just kind of hits you. It might be no demonic or anything, but you know,
just heavy.
I think Scott has a squeaky chair.
It does.
Or is it my chair that's squeaking? Right, I'll sit at peace. I've got a habit of moving about in my chair. Sorry, Eileen. Sorry. You know. It's kind of weird. We did Canongate Cut one night, way back. And when we walked in, we just felt we weren't wanted there. Was it demonic or any of that bollocks? We just felt we we're not wanted here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of go away sort of thing. And that does happen, but you know, you get these places, as you know, Kat, where you walk in and it feels quite calm and peaceful.
Well, you imagine people forget that spirits were people. They were living people. And if you imagine we've just walked into their house and we're total strangers. So if a total stranger just walked into your house, you might be like, who are you? Get out of my house, what are you doing? So they'll have that same energy. So if you've just walked into their place of residence and we've went uninvited and we don't introduce ourselves and we've just come in and started barking questions at them, they're going to be like, get yourself away. What is this? So you'll feel that energy. And I think people forget that. People forget that these were living human people who still have human feelings. So we tend to, in our investigations for doing videos and that, we like to, you'll probably do the same, we will introduce ourselves with, hi, I'm Kat, I'm here, this is why we're here, and we hope that we're like welcome in your house. If you don't want us here, give us a sign and we'll leave, and all the usual stuff like that. But you get some folk on investigations and they forget that there's humans that they're talking to, and they can't understand why they're getting a bit of attitude for the spirit. And it's like, well, if you just come into my house barking orders at me, I'd have some attitude, I know.
You go in with Laura's saying banging upstairs as well with ghosts active, and Laura's got a wee bit of an active house at times, so I think they'd maybe playing up in her house tonight. Eileen called me a squeaky bum. Eileen, you and I shall chat here. You and I shall chat. Eileen's about 3'4", you know. And that's standing on a chair. You know, you slag me, Eileen, I'll slag you back, though, it's fine. Oh, we love her deal. She's a great wee woman. No, as I say, wee woman. She's brilliant. But she does the hard back. You know.
She's not much weirder than you.
I'm 7'3".
Aye, right.
I mean, show spirit the same respect as you do the other. No, you're all bang on with that. You know, you see somebody comes out of your house and starts asking questions, what do one? You know. It's when investigators shout and swear at spirits that gets my goat. Have respect.
Do you know what it is for me? When they patronise them that, and they talk to them like children. I mean, you could be talking to someone who's about 45 years old and have been dead for 200 years and got 200 years of knowledge and wisdom, and you're like, oh, spirit, oh, it's okay. Oh, can you just do this for me? Oh, can you just do that for me? Wait, why are you patronising them? Just ask them, can you turn on this device? That winds me up, I think, more than people shouting.
Aye, there's a few things wind me up. I'm 5'6", Laura, no 5'4", 5'6". Right? 5 foot. Well, was the last time I get measured, and I don't think I saw. I'm 5'6" there.
Was that with the heels on?
Not. What though?
I said, was that with your heels on?
That was good. Have you seen the pictures? But no, you're entirely right. I mean, we get investigations, and you get these teams. You know that you've met some, and they're very serious and regimental, and all the rest. And you think, no, that's crap. We just go in, and we like to have a laugh, and you shrunk. You just had a birthday. The compliments are flying high tonight. But this is the kind of abuse I get all the time. I believe, same as you do, is just go ahead and be yourself. Spirit knows if you're being an arse or no. You know, those flashbang wallop types with buying back to front caps and street lingo do mine up. I need to wear my hat like that then, Eileen. No, with shades on. I'm just going to be yourself, just introduce yourself, you know, and say, you know, we're here, you know, if you want to talk about it. Again, with Lloyd and Kurt, we've been there for about 3 years, so we built up quite a good relationship. And some folk might say it's crap, but I mean, Irene and Laura, Sarah will tell you, they've all been there and experienced it. It is quite an atmosphere. It's a really active place. And it's not a massive big location. It sits in the middle of nowhere, just beside Galston. And it's off the beaten track, so it's not on a main road or anything. There's always a great atmosphere in there. You always feel it, and we're just going to be yourself. And I think the more you do that, the more Spirit will get used to you. Instead of these, you know, I flash by wallop types to go in and, we're here. You have to answer our questions and that. Because if I was a Spirit, I would say, I don't need to do anything, pal. I'm a Spirit. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. They'll get to know you, won't they? They'll recognise who you are. So if you guys have been going there for a while, then they'll be like, look, there's folk that know Scott will come in, and they're friends of friends or whatever, or if it's yourself. So they'll recognise you, so they're more likely to want to strike up a conversation, so to speak. Whereas if you're a total stranger, they'll be like, who's this guy?
Well, that's what we feel's happened because, you know, we've had my name quite a few, we've had Sarah's name, we've had Laura's name as well. Came through, and there's a farm nearby there's a connection to the farm, but I'll say to them, you know, I was up at the farm, I was up at the house, and with the DVP's sentences saying Scott was up at the house, Scott was up at the farm. So they're there and they're listening, and they know you. I think we get where's Sarah one night as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
One night, Sarah.
You went with Rosie when I wasn't there.
What was that, me?
The night that you went with Rosie.
Aye, I went.
I wasn't there because I was sore.
That's right. We went one night with Rosie Cardy and her partner Laura. Sarah didn't go, and we got asked, "Where's Rosie? Where's Rosie? Where's Sarah?" You know, so
they know who you are.
They know who we are, and they know when somebody's missing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Laura, there's a certain Spirit used to scare the hell out of me, and I refused to get near his plot. But I did a lone vigil in the cut one night. And this Spirit came through, spoke to me directly from there. There's a gentleman there. The girls at the start would never get down the bottom end of the kirk. They just wouldn't get near it. Daytime, night, they wouldn't touch it. So one night I took Laura down and just abandoned her. I was sitting in the car. I didn't go to McDonald's or Tesco or anything. I was sitting in the car outside. She done it on a lie. So I was watching her, and I was like, 30 seconds walk away for her anyway. But after that night, the fear kind of lifted. Same with Sarah, the whole place just to a different kind of atmosphere. The girls, they'll gladly get down there now and sit and chat away and what have you. But no, you need to show respect to Spirit, the same as we would expect to get it. These other things, when you get these people say, we're the best team in Britain. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, what does that even mean? best at what, and who's decided that you're the best? Where's your measurement? What are you measuring that up against? Have you put it to a vote? Has there been a public vote for who the best team in Britain is? And is it? Are you the best at events? Are you the best at entertaining? Like, what's best at what?
As I say, it's also when they say, this is the UK's most haunted pub.
Oh God, they're all the most haunted pub.
And I answered a comment one the other week. They were saying this is the most haunted. I'm sure maybe it was a pub, it was a location anyway. And I would say, well, how do you know it is? You've not been to every pub in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a wee pub tucked away somewhere that's rampant every night with activity, but nobody ever goes, nobody investigates it. So that could be the most haunted pub, or what? Pardon me, at bacon sandwiches ever on. I know you don't need to hear it, but I'm quite open about it. I'm quite burpy, you know what I mean? As when they say that, we're Britain's number one team, blah blah blah. No, bollocks. There's no such thing as they're not. We're all doing it for the same reason. There's well, as far as we're concerned, there's no competition. We're the same as yourself. We're not trying to be special. We're just good at doing what we love. And, if we get evidence, great. If we don't get evidence at all, no doubt you've had nights where you've had diddly squat.
Oh, 100%. There's been times where I've been sat in the dark, essentially just talking to myself, questioning my life choices.
Why am I here at 3 a.m. in the basement of an old castle and it's freezing?
And it's freezing cold.
But you do, you get home. We've had a few nights with that, you get nothing, but you get home and you've been out, you've done what you enjoy doing. As you said earlier, it's a hobby. And you've been with people that you love, been with your team, whatever, and you've had a few good laughs and whatever. And who knows, maybe Spirit's been sitting in beside you just listening.
Mm-hmm. Well, nights like that make the other nights even more special, because when you've had a night of absolutely nothing, when you get one where something does happen, it reignites the belief and all your doubts vanish, because you're like, this is why I'm doing it. This is what it was. This is why I'm still doing this. But if every night you had activity, it would take away the buzz. I think it would be as if every day was Christmas, it would ruin Christmas. It's kind of like that sort of feeling.
Well, I don't know. I'm quite a fan of Christmas, as people know me will tell you. I'm quite a fan, so that we might need to agree to disagree on that one. But no, I know I know you mean. Eileen has to bring it down a bit. We've all sat in the cold dark needing a wee. Aye, that as well, Eileen. I dare say that comes into it now and again. And I think, what's your thoughts on this? As you say, you can go to a location one night, get absolutely nothing, but you've had a good laugh, you've had a wee giggle and what have you, and then you go back maybe a week or two later to the same location, and maybe Spirit has been sitting watching your previous visit, and I thought, oh, well, they were here before, and they were actually all right, so let's talk to them this time. They weren't arrogant or shouting swearing because we didn't give them anything, so let's go ahead and talk to them this time.
I think there's something to that. It's like I was saying earlier, if it's a stranger and you've not really got the feel for someone, you're not really going to want to strike up a conversation till you've sussed them out. So, and it could be, for all we know, there could have been other teams or other people that have been disrespectful and have tried to make an arse of the Spirit. So now it's almost like we're all being tarred with the same brush. So when we go in, the Spirit are going to be like, oh, here we go. Here's another one of these teams coming in. And they just might not want to communicate because they've had a bad experience with a previous team. So then when you then go back the next time and they've seen, oh no, wait a minute, these guys were all right. They weren't arsey with us. Then they might start coming forward and want to talk to you because they've sussed you out.
That full bike thing, that's all the crap. I'm saying being with others, sharing things is always good. That is good. But you are all similar to us. You get teams out there that might say, oh, that's all the crap. You need to do it scientifically and all the blah. I mean, disrespect to them. That's their way of working. That's their thing. we're not a scientific team or a technical team. To us, we don't believe in all that bollocks. To us, spirit is simple, and I don't mean that as in simple. I mean, it's just basic. They're still people, you know. And so we just go in with it, as I say, with the light-hearted approach and just laid back. And people will say, no doubt, you've had it, people say, oh, going to the same location over and over is boring. But, you know, maybe somebody's got a point somewhere with that, but we've done different locations as a one-off here and there, same as everybody else. But I think if you find that one location where you feel comfortable in, and you've got that feeling that you should be there, then that's how we started off. First we started because it was handy for us. We didn't need travel very far, but we've grown attached to it now. And I've said to these people, I know you go to different locations, but if you go to the same location over and over, your spirit's getting more and more able to trust you. They're getting to know you. Tell them about your life. Tell them what you were up to that day, or you know, whatever. They might not understand.
If people are saying, "Oh, it's boring," well, what are you looking for? Are you looking to be entertained? Because spirit isn't there to entertain you. Is it boring in a sense that you want to see different places, or is it boring because you're feeling, oh, nothing happened there? Well, the spirits aren't. It's not like going to Disneyland. They're not there to put on a show. So you're right when you're saying going to the same place over and over and over. That's a great way to do it, because you're building up that rapport. You're building up that like friendship, for want of a better word. And that might be the wrong word, but the spirits.
No, I think it's the right word. It's a kind of friendship because they get to know you, you get to know them. Basically, you know, it could take, you know, it could take 2, 3, 5 years, whatever. But let's face it, spirit's not in any hurry, and you know, you're not going to get a. It'd be fantastic if you did, you know, a bang forward, straight out conversation. That's not. Maybe it'll happen in the future, who knows? But as far as that will never happen. So it will take time to build up. So it could be weeks, months, years, whatever. But you will get there. Eileen makes a good point. We've spoken about this before. There's no such thing, paranormal expert. That really grinds my gears, you know.
Same.
You find what works for you in time. I see people say, I'm an expert in the paranormal. You're an expert at nothing. You know, you can have more experience in the paranormal, but it doesn't make you any better than the guy who's been doing it for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, too many people. That's actually out of the problem. You're expecting to walk in a castle or something, a table to go flying across the heater. You know, ballers with that. But just get back to what you were saying about the anticipation and the buzz. I know exactly what you mean, and some people might think this is stupid, but I've seen it before. I love the anticipation. See, if you're sitting there and nothing's happening, and say, for instance, it's 8 o'clock, you're sitting there, nothing's happening. You don't know what's going to happen at 8:05 or 8:10. You know, so you're waiting on. It might never happen. You can sit there all night and it'll come, but it's the no knowing if something is going to happen or not. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah.
You know, that's a bit I like. I like investigating, being with a team as well, obviously, but just when you're saying the wee buzz, I would say that's a wee buzz for me. Don't get me wrong, but you get a good result, you know, I get a great EVP or something. You think, oh, yes, you know, that was a good one. But it's the anticipation of what could happen.
Yeah. I often think as well, people, so depending on where you go, let's say it's a castle, for example. I think a lot of people have been to an event and they've had their experience, but they've not put it down to paranormal, and they haven't actually realised that it was a paranormal thing. A lot of people, they'll be waiting for something to happen, and they'll be waiting for the TV moment, whereas it could be as simple as something going by the corner of their eye, or a sound off in the distance, or a faint smell of perfume. People are always anticipating that big bang sort of
Mhm.
moment that they miss the finer things and dismiss a lot of it. So I think a lot of the more what might be perceived as quiet investigations, actually there's a lot of stuff happening, but people are quick to dismiss it.
Do you find that the Laura saying sorry was talking to wife and checking husband stuff is I have Craig's his birthday today and he's away out for a wee shandy,
Oh,
shall we
nice.
say? You know, so check that he's still alive. No, exactly. You get these people, and no offence to them. Let's say, you know, a word that's used, newbies. You know, people that are just getting into the paranormal and they do investigations and they're expecting the big bang kind of thing. Whereas you think people that have been doing it a lot longer, you know, like say ourselves, yourselves, that we'll be and we'll notice things that they'll not notice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it could be, as you say, a wee quick shadow, or it could be anything. Because I just know, I'm not saying we're experts or whatever, but it's because we get used to it and I don't know why I use the phrase we know what to look for, but we're more kind of open.
Yeah. We start to recognise things that, I don't want to say they become patterns, but at different, the longer you do it, the more you become aware of something. So you could put it down to, oh, it's just a coincidence, I saw a shadow at the corner of my eye. You see that one, so it's just a coincidence. But if you then go to either the same venue or loads of different venues and you continually see that shadow, that's when you think, why do I keep seeing that? How much of a coincidence would it be that I saw it there and I also saw it here, and then 2 months later I saw it somewhere else? It's when you get things happen repeatedly, but that's when it stops becoming a coincidence, and there's maybe something to that. Maybe that's spirits way of showing themselves to you.
Aye.
It's recognising that.
It's like, you know, I'll stay coming up in a minute, second, Laura. It's like, you know, exactly you're saying, it's similar to, you know, the like battery drainage. You might get somebody who's new to the paranormal and got all this gear, and their batteries are draining, and the camera's buggered, or it's a faulty battery. But we know, you know, yourself and us, we know that that's quite a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so whereas they might see it as a technical fault, we know that it happens a lot. And you see, sorry, Cal, you go.
So people will say, oh, it's or that's normal, it's a faulty camera, or if you're getting hits with the K2, or that's just that'll happen, you expect that to happen. So I say to folk, well, why don't you put it in your house when you're not investigating? Put your devices on, put your cameras on, monitor the batteries, and see if your battery's not draining in the house. See if your K2 isn't giving you random hits in the house. Then surely that must mean that when you're in an investigation and your battery's draining or your K2's giving sporadic hits, there must be something to that, because it's not happened when you were checking it in your house. So if it was a faulty bit of kit, you would expect the same results when you're not doing an investigation. So when you're at a site doing the investigation and everything's draining or you're getting hits on something, then surely it's got to be something to do with that location. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly. It's the same as I'll get your comments out in a minute, folks, promise. It's the same with the K2. I know there's a million and one things that can affect the K2, you know, with phones, radio signals, the list is like that.
Endless.
But what I always say is if you've got a K2 that's sitting dormant for a length of time, and you've not moved it, you know, and then you ask a question and say, can you make that go to orange or yellow? And it does it. And then it goes dead again. And if it sits dead continually till you ask another question or something, or you ask them to do it again, and then it does it, then I say, well, you know, that's no normal. That could have said we never label anything as paranormal because you're just leaving yourself wide open for
unexplained is a good word. I like to say unexplained.
That's what we just I can't explain that. But so I mean the K2, it's a taxi running by with radio on, or fair enough, it might be. But it's when it sits dormant for X amount and then goes and then goes back to dead. Then there could be something in it. Laura says, like for me, it was a floating mist and Dark Harm going through the windows. You couldn't see it, but for me, we did the Dark Harm. It's down near Daly in Ayrshire. There's an old house, but there's a castle behind it. We did the castle one night. There was 6 or 7 days there. And we were in, I think it's an old kind of round tower sort of thing. But, you know, the openings in the walls where the windows used to be, and everybody at different times has seen this white mist going by the window or the door. I never seen the bugger. I was the one that never got to see it. But everybody's seen it at different times. And we couldn't explain it. That night as well, just to say the K2 was going up to red constantly. We couldn't explain that because it's an old abandoned castle. There's no power, no nothing. But it was going up to red on command that night. But I know what Laura's meaning. The nuisance of spirit are recognisable after you get a bit of experience under your belt.
Yeah.
Like our cat ball and the voice come through a switched off phone at the Banshee. They had that, the voice came through the phone and the phone was on. So it's, you know, I think you get to know what to look for. And it can be the simplest thing. People will say to me about the paranormal stuff, I say, well, have you ever had something, it's either we use it, have you ever had something happen to you in your life that you can't explain? A smell, you know, a feeling, whatever. Something maybe has moved on your table ever so slightly. Maybe. You need to think, what made that object? Something moved that object. Or someone. That's the other thing that gets me. I don't know if you's there. If he's there, then I do apologise. But it's when people say, there's something over in that corner. See, there's no something, there's someone. If it's a spirit, that spirit's still up. I wouldn't like to be called something. You know, as I would say, there's someone over in that corner.
So it's like when they say there's something, do they mean that there's someone, or do they mean there's something moved, or there's something like a lights went on, or there's something? It's got to be more specific. What are you meaning when you say, oh, there's something there? Is it something or is it someone? Do you know what I mean?
And then again, you get the old or dumb looking over there. That's demonic. And then you get these teams. We've experienced a lot, and it's just happened recently in an area in Glasgow. And the bars, I'm not going to name any names, but it's happened in the bars. 2 separate teams. One of the teams was our former team members. They went in and investigated this store, should we say, and they got all sorts of activity in this girl's name. Another well-known team went in the following week, and they got entirely different results and a different person, the lady's name, and they've now built up this big story. We can, there's me getting out of trouble again. Sorry, Eileen. Sorry, Mum. I should start calling her Mum, actually. You know what I mean? I really should. And they build up this big story, and they're basing it on noises that are coming out the spirit box. Do you ever get that? They base it on no actual 100% sentences or word, but they base it on, did you hear a noise? That said Derek. Did you hear that? That said Derek there. You know. It's
all open to interpretation, isn't it? It's very. I'm so bad at spirit boxes and anything with the noise, like the white noise machines. I'm really bad at hearing anything other than noise, and other people in a room are hearing it great. And I'm not going to say they're not hearing it, because it could just be I've just not got ears for it. Or what I'll need to do is record the spirit box, and then I'll have to go back and make it quieter and or put headphones in, because at the time I'm like, I can't hear anything. It's just I don't. So when people do hear something, I'm like, well, who am I to say you never heard it? If it's one person, then it might just be I can't remember the name of it, when you're hearing words and random sounds. But if you've got multiple people all hearing the same thing, then fair enough. But I never hear anything. I'm so bad with them. It's just white noise to me. But Saying that, I say I've on the odd occasion I've heard full sentences, which blows my mind because it's not just a wee chop of a word; it's a full sentence, which you should never ever really get with these devices. So that I've had that a few times. I say a few times, like I can count one hand. But when that happens, that's one of those where you get the buzz back. Oh my God, did you hear that? Did everyone hear that? And it's a full sentence, but the odd word, I never get it.
You use us so much alike to us. You see the 2 points there. I'll start Eileen's comment up first. It says it's easy to create a scenario to fit whatever you perceive without. Exactly. They build up this huge big story and they start to but they start to mention people's names and there's nothing. There's no basis for it. There's no foundation for it. It's just where they proceed and they start to tell people that what they're saying is true. Basically, I think, well. Fair enough, if you go to a location and you get some names or whatever, then if there's a way to go and look back, research it to see if their names tie in with where you were, fine. But it's when these ballers start making up these big life stories of people and, they drowned in a river and the brother jumped in and he drowned as well. And you think, so where? What river? Don't know, but that's what they told me. And the brother's still looking for the sister said, well, she's not still in the river. He's looking for her, she might still be in the river, basically. So tell me, check there. And it's a load of bollocks, do you know what I mean? But what you're saying about hearing, that's happened to me. We did a location with Spig in Glasgow, and there's 2 or 3 levels, but we were in the downstairs, and everybody was downstairs, and they all started pointing up. I think Laura was there. Maybe Sarah was there as well. I can't think. They all started pointing up the stairs because they could hear footsteps. I couldn't hear nothing. But they were like that. Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? So you're like that. And you're trying to get the ceiling's about 10, 15 foot off the flare. But you got to know if you've ever done it, but you start to go to 50, you're going to hit the ceiling. What are you listening to? Can you not hear that? I say, well, if I could hear it, I wouldn't be asking you where it is. And there's footsteps, but you don't hear it. No, I'm just deaf. But then you get the other side of the coin, as you say, Kat, but your second or third TikTok on our TikTok is, I call it the Whispering Lady, we caught it Caldwell, and it's a full sentence. It was just me that heard it. Everybody else was hearing a sharp, what they described as a sharp, I'd take a breath. And I heard this Whispering Lady, but we all reacted at the same time. So we all thought we were reacting to, how can I put it? I thought they were reacting to the lady. They thought I was reacting to the breathing. Mm-hmm. But I never heard the breathing. I couldn't hear any breathing. I just heard this woman. And at first we thought it was Latin and we played it over and over and we couldn't make out what it was saying. And then it was Jim Martin for the Spirit Realm Network. He does all it. He's great with audio and everything. He says, I'll break it down for you. I'll come on your show. And he broke it down and it says, he says, she's asking you, is your light better now? He says, if you watch your footage, you get a EMF meter sitting beside you and it goes to red, so you move it away. And then it goes to red again. And then she says, and does she ask that question? I sent it to about a dozen different people, and everybody says that wasn't through the app. She was there beside you. It's on our TikTok. I think it's the second or third video in. But when you get a full sentence like that, as you say, you get that buzz. You think, these things aren't created to make sentences. Because I remember the same place. We were coming out. I don't know if it was the same night or not. We were coming out. It was one of the gym halls, and there was like a few years there, and everybody at the same time stopped because we heard this little girl say hello.
Just normal audio, like is that what you say? Just
normal. There were no recorders. We were moving from one room to another, and we just said hello, and everybody stopped at the same time. Just when you're saying if everybody hears it, and we all just looked at each other and said, "What did you hear? And we all agreed that's what everybody heard. It's when you get things like that, and we know that we'd no recorders running or sod all, and it's when and as you say, when one person hears it, you can say, you're hearing things, possibly, you know, it's your hearing. But then when a group of folk hear it, said to it, and they just stop. What was that?
Have you ever been at a venue and everybody hears the same thing, but they've all heard it from different directions? So they all hear the same, whether it's hello or whatever it is, and someone will say, "Oh, I heard it come from that corner," and then another person will be like, "Oh no, it was through over here." And I don't know if it's a unexplained phenomenon in a sense that the spirits deliberately like throwing their voice around the whole room, or if it's just the way people perceive sounds. Have you ever had that?
We've never had that. We've had like that wee girl, and also we did the vaults once a couple of years ago, and we were in one of the rooms in the vaults, and we heard somebody, just one word for one of the corners say "why," and that was it. Everybody heard it. It was a male's voice. I don't think. Have we ever had, as we've been doing investigations, have we ever had a scenario where we've all heard something, but we've heard it from different directions?
Don't think so.
No, I don't. I don't know, Laura could tell. No, I don't think that's happened.
We've had it maybe once or twice, and it's almost like it starts an argument in the team. Like, no, they were over. I heard it over there. No, it was over by the window, and it just everybody's heard the exact same thing, but nobody can pinpoint exactly where the sound
came
from. Yeah, and it's quite entertaining when it happens because everyone's in a bit of a state trying to figure out where it came from.
Aye, the rocking. I don't know if that happen.
And then I often wonder, is the spirit doing that deliberately because they like to see us in a bit of a flap?
Not possibly. It's difficult sometimes to determine direction when you're in a dark and echo location, which is true. You know, it could possibly be echoed. I mean, I think spirit does like a laugh. They do like to play jokes. You know, it's my old flat. We had a spirit, a young guy. Convinced the guy, the previous tenant died and passed in the flat. But I had quite a lot of Buddhas, and I was very, I don't know if you call it OCD, maybe, don't know, I love myself, but I was very precise about where my Buddhas were. And there was a saying that you can't have two Buddhas facing you, they've all got to face different directions. So that's what I had. But I would notice when I came in for work, and some people might call it sad, I do apologise if it is, but I would notice that a Buddha had been moved. It might just have been 5 millimetre, slight movement, but I would notice. That's why I'm saying it might be OCD. Don't know. And I do. Well, I've been at work all day, so I used to say to him, "Did you move my bloody Buddha again? What have I told you about moving the Buddhas?" I usually just, talk to him if he was sitting on the couch. I've told you to leave my Buddhas alone, and I'm not kidding on. Leave them. And I'd come in the next day and another one would be moved. It was like, if he was saying, "Well, stuff you, I'm going to shift this one today. See if you can find what one I've moved this day." But go to the stage where I would just, I would say goodbye and hello to him. And I was going, "Well, see, right, well, I'll see you the night when I come in." And I come in for work, and if something had happened, you're never going to believe what happened today in work. Folk probably thought I was nuts, talk to accounts or something. But it was all just about making him feel, right, I know you're there. You don't give me an asshole, and I'm just going to talk to you,
And that could have been the absolute highlight of his day, getting to hear how your day was. Because for all we know, I don't know how the spirit world works. For all we know, you're the only communication he had with anything. So to talk to him like a friend and keep him involved in your daily life, but that could have been a comfort to him.
Aye, I gave him any trouble one night, and then I think he went in a huff with me, because one night I used to, my living room had a galley kitchen. There was no kitchen door, just this wee thin kitchen. I was watching a film, and the kitchen bin lid came flying off. And I was watching the film, and I says, "I'm trying to watch this effing film. Will you just leave it alone? Let me watch my film." And I never heard from him again, so he might have went in a wee huff with me, because I gave him any bother. But I thought, no, sorry, I'm trying to watch this film. You can play
Maybe-
later on.
Maybe just didn't like your choice of film.
Maybe I can't mind what film it was, but I gave him into bother, and he seemed to, all right, well, I'm off. I'm not your pal anymore. And some folk might think that's stupid, but who's to say it's not that simple?
Yeah.
I tend to hear things others can't because I'm deaf, but they tend to like playing with my hearing aids, making them buzz, turn them up and down. Again, to have a sense of humour. You know, I'm going to tip. Irene's got to be right little minx when she goes, by the way. First Louis hide keys in the fridge when I pop off. But that's why we take the simple approach to spirit. You froze. I thought you'd froze there. You just good at sitting
I was
still.
just listening intently.
Yeah. That's why we take, because I don't think spirit is the other thing, Kat. I don't know how technical your team is. I'll find out when I ask you. But we don't use a lot of tech stuff. But you get these people that spend time, and no disrespect again, it's their time. They spend thousands on all different gadgets, cameras, and all the rest of it. And I don't think spirit gives a toss. What you use? I mean, we've used stuff with ping pong balls in the past, basic stuff. I don't think spirit cares what you're using.
I think that they'll find out. Well, put it this way: spirit's been able to communicate since spirit has been a thing, from the dawn of man, and there has been spirit for before all these gadgets existed. They've found a way to communicate, and over time they'll have maybe found things that ways and methods they prefer over others. And as we move into the 21st century with the advent of these gadgets, I like a K2, I like that, I like those lights, I like that, what that does. So a particular spirit might hone in on a particular device because they prefer that, whereas another spirit might prefer the more traditional methods, like rapping on walls or moving things about the premises. Like I think it's the same as it is for us. It's personal choice, so we'll probably find that there'll be some spirits that actually really do like the gadgets, and there'll be the others that don't. Me personally, our team has them, but I think it was more to cater to the public because they see what's on telly, so they want to play with all the toys and they want to see the gadgets. I'm terrible with technology. I don't understand how any of it works. I understand what a K2 is because the light goes from green to red. I get that. But when it comes to all the other stuff, I need to get my husband to explain it because I just don't get it. And like the spirit boxes and the FM and the AM frequency, I can't. It doesn't compute for me. I know that it's some sort of energy manipulation. Other than that, I just don't get it. I'm quite happy to just have an object, a ping pong ball or a cat ball move because that's simple. I get that. I understand that. But we do have the gadgets, but it's personal preference with it. To be fair, a lot of them we don't use. Just because the rigmarole of trying to explain it to everyone, it's like people want to see them because they see it on telly, but when it comes to actually understanding how they work and how spirit manipulates them, nobody really gets it.
I mean, we obviously use David was saying welcome to my world, but I'm the exact same as you, Kat, when it comes to the technical stuff. And I'm totally, Sarah and Laura will tell you, our 9-year-old daughter, she's right in her tablet and stuff, and she showed me a couple of things, how to do things on a tablet. I don't have a clue about it, and she's 9.
My parents are the same. Yep.
And she was going, Dad, you do this, and she'll just screw do this, and then you do it, and that's it done. All right, thanks very much. But it's when it comes. I'm the same. The basic stuff. If
keep it simple.
If a ping pong ball moved, then something made that move, or a cat ball is off. That's basically how I work. For why I get all the gadgets, that's fine. As I was going to say about the events, you get, as you see, you got all the toys and whistles because people are curious because they see it on the telly, so they want to have a go at this, which is understandable. What's your thoughts on, maybe running events just using? Do you say like to people, right, we don't have any fancy gadgets here, we've got ping pong balls, we've got a couple of K2s, basic stuff.
I would prefer it because it keeps it simple. a lot of the events with a lot of devices, it can overcomplicate it. And then if you split off into teams, you might only have one REM pod, and everyone's wanting a shot at the REM pod, but we've only got one, and we're in teams. So it then becomes a logistical nightmare trying to work out who's getting to use what and how to use it. And then every time you've got another team using it, you then have to explain everything again and how it works and what happens. I also think if you use too many devices in the one place, they all interfere with each other, and it just overcomplicates everything. So for me, I prefer events where it is just a simple methods of communication and simple visuals. And we'll always have like a camera running just to record things.
Aye.
But we're not, that's just in the background. We're not using that. That's not a communication method. Or we might use like the Echo Box or other such device for a more audio experience for people. Other than that, I prefer the cat balls and a wee K2, something that's easy to manipulate.
100%, and you no doubt you get people come along and say, well, you know what, that's if you hand somebody a cat ball or a ping pong ball and say, well, this isn't what I saw on telly. I saw this, the X537 Super ZR, or whatever. They keep adding numbers and letters to the names of these things. Don't see why. It's the same as phones. They keep adding numbers and letters to phones. But if you say to somebody, well, that's fair enough, you've seen that on telly, but I'm giving you a cat ball, and I'm to, go down a corridor or something, and see if that cat ball lights up. If you're wanting activity, that counts as activity, and it's nothing fancy, just see if that ball lights up. And I would like to see events like that, because it's showing people the other side. It's taking people away from the technical side, as Eileen says, old school. It's showing them, well, this is how people used to, maybe not with cat balls, but this is how people used to do it before all these big gadgets came about.
Going back to the analog era.
Aye, going back to the old days, back in the day, as they say, and this is how it used to be done. So this is the way we lived, we want you to see. You might not like it, you might not come again, but you might get an experience that you can't explain.
I think people also need to remember that the spirit might not recognise what a phone is or a K2 is. They might, again, like I say, I don't know how spirit world works. If they died in the 1700s, does their knowledge just stay in the 1700s, or as time goes on, are they witness to everything that happens? Do they know what an iPhone is? Do they know what a K2 is? If you said, can you go and I've got a REM pod there, can you go and make it do something? They'd be like, what the fuck's a REM pod? What are they talking about? So keeping it simple and keeping it, using toys, like teddies and dolls and cat balls, everybody recognises, no matter what period of time you're from, everybody knows what that is. So if you say to the spirit, can you go over and move that doll, they'll be like, oh, I know what a doll is. They'll go over to the doll. And you might have a K2 inside the doll, and the K2 will just happen to go off, but you're not asking it to manipulate the K2, you're asking it to manipulate the doll or the toy.
I know, I'm totally on board with that as well. K2, we call it a black box.
Yep.
Because everybody knows what a box is, whether what century you're coming to. And that's why we use kind of ping pong balls and stuff then, because they would have known what a ball was, back in the day, whatever. And just what you were saying about they might not know. I've discussed this in a few shows. I'm in the frame of mind that spirit does have the capacity. We can still, they're just like us, obviously, and they can still learn. As time goes on. Maybe somebody for the 15th, 16th century wouldn't be able to, no disrespect to them, wouldn't understand iPhones and that, no matter how. I don't understand iPhones. I
was going to say, I don't understand iPhones.
And I'm for this century, so, but I think spirit has the capability to watch and learn. I had this chat with Charlie the other night about turning cameras on and off and stuff. Because no doubt it's happened to yourselves and it's happened to us. But we just can't explain it. And I thought, well, maybe spirit's turning the camera off because they don't want us to see them, to hear them, whatever. So who's to say they've no watched enough to say, right, well, so that's how you do that. He's pressed that. And so if I can do that, then that'll make that go away, basically. It might just be as simple as that. Oh, I mean, all the gadgets, I'm always banging on, like, it's not like to listen to what's going on there. I listen and feel, basically. Just you say with the gadgets and they might not know what it is. I mind I watched a guy, this guy was a cabbage. But I'm getting back. It was no long after we started, but this guy thought it was something special. But he went to Greyfriars one night. I've told this story a million times, and you think he was going to war with Serere or something like that, you know, the way he was dressed up. Seriously, every kind of gadget under the sun. And so he went into one of the open vaults in Greyfriars, and it took him about 2 hours to set everything up. Seriously, he was there forever. He done all this on a live, you know, and he set, and when he had all that up, it was like, you know, the Enterprise, you know, all lights and everything, and he get nothing. It was so funny. He get absolutely nothing. He spent about 2 hours doing all this for diddly squat. But the way he was dressed up, that's the other thing that gets me. I mean, we wear black. I love black, you know, and our colours are black, same as yourself. It's when you get these guys going, they'll get the vest on, the bulletproof vest and stuff like that.
Oh, the tack
flak
vest.
Aye. They've got, if they're going to war with Iraq or something, and they go, and they've got the combats with the boots halfway up their legs or strapped up and everything. I think, if we get to just wear jeans and a top and that, you know, what does he care what you're wearing? But this guy that night, Cap, was so funny. The way he was doing his stuff coming out the top, you know, the stands and all the rest of it. Greyfriars, here we go. He was going to war, but he get not a thing. And I found that dead funny. So you get clowns with this, and the data's alive. And I mean, we've got one wee bag. We call it the ghost bag. That's it. You know, and we've been out with a few teams. They're all great teams, and they'll come out with 3 or 4 different kind of metal suitcases and that. We come out with our wee bag. Because that's all we use. And we've had so much, sounds big here again, we've had so much success with just this one wee bag.
Yep.
You know, and we're quite tight-fisted. I'm from Glasgow, so, you know, quite tight-fisted anyway, as it happened.
Well, the most important part of my kit is my snacks.
Well, there you go, your juice. You know, it's when it's stuff like that. You don't need hundreds of gadgets and equipment to. Spirit doesn't really give us stuff. You know, a marble.
Spirit, they don't need it. If Spirit wants to communicate with you, they're going to find a way. Whether you like it or not, they will find a way. Whether you've got kit or not, if they want to communicate, they're going to do it. How else? There's people who aren't in the paranormal community at all, and all of a sudden one day their house is haunted because a spirit wants to communicate with them. They don't have any kit, they don't have any gadgets, but that spirit has came through because it wants to and it will.
Rolos, that's Eileen's thing. Rolos. I totally agree with you. I've said before, you know, you could sit and you could be sitting for hours and hours, and you could have all the gadgets under the sun, but a spirit doesn't want to talk to you, regardless of what you've got. You could have a satellite up there watching. You're going to get nothing. They could be sitting on the bench right next to you.
Yep.
But as you say, you made a good point. You know, you can go live in a house for years and years, and then all of a sudden, bang, a spirit pops up because he or she's decided, I'm going to go and talk to somebody. And I pick you, you know, and who's to say it's no just... I know all these people that are trying to put a scientific explanation on it, and I think, no, don't. I'm not telling them how to investigate. Everybody's got their own way of working. You know, good luck to them. But I just said, don't just go and be yourself. Just be simple. Spirit's just one company at the end of the day. You know, or they're trying to tell you something maybe. Could be a message. You know, you get these cabbages on the telly. I've got a message here for Marion. Mary's got bad legs and they're going to fall off in 6 weeks' time. And, you know, if somebody lost a dad and all that bollocks, they're not interested in that, you know. Just go and be yourself. Do you know what I mean? So So I've just realised the time, and I've not asked you any about your investigations that you've done, so I'm going to need to bring you back, though, I'm afraid.
I would love to come back.
Well, thank you. I just realised, because I was going to ask you about your events and your... So tell us one of your scariest moments then, Phoebe.
Oh my God, that puts us right in the spot. God, right, it was probably Inverary jail. I'm assuming you'll have been to the jail. Everybody's been to the jail. Have you never been to Inverary?
I know, I've been in Inverary many times, just never been in the jail.
Well,
we don't pay for events, we're too tight for it. We go to free places.
Do you know, I'm going to start doing that because money's tight. So we're in there, there's the old building and the new building, so old cells and the new cells, and we're in the old cells, up the stair, and they were in a cell that had reported to be one of the most active cells. Not very nice, but it's a jail, so the folk in it weren't very nice anyway. And we weren't, at this point, doing a vigil. We were waiting for everyone to settle down. And I heard a girl, I was in one corner, there was a girl in another, and I was talking to my pal, and I thought I heard this girl tell me, she's like, shut the fuck up. So I was ready to square go, and I was like, who are you talking to? What did you just say to me? She never said a thing. It wasn't her. It was this just random voice. So that was the start of it. Next minute, there's a chap standing, and I'm looking at him, but it's dark, so he's got the light at his back, so it's his silhouette, and as I'm watching him, it looks like big, like spider's legs are coming over him, and I'm staring like, what is going on with my eyes? And I looked at the girl next to me, I'm like, can you see this? And she's holding on to me, she's like, oh my god. The girl that I thought had spoken, she's saying, I don't feel well, I need to go, I need to get out of here. So one of the other team members takes her down to the hub. So everyone's kind of like, everyone settle down. So we wait for them. We could hear them footsteps going down the stair. We hear the door, they're away at the hub. So we're like, right, we'll wait for the other team member to come back, and then we'll start the vigil. So we're waiting. We hear the door, and it's a big solid wooden door. So we hear that slam. Everyone gets a wee fright, and we're like, oh, it's all right. It'll just be her coming back up the stair. We hear the footsteps coming up the stair, and the cell door opens up onto the top of the stairwell. So everybody's looking out the cell door, waiting for her, expecting her to come up the stair, and we're waiting. Mm-hmm. Nobody comes. There's nobody there. So we radios down to the hub, and we're like, are you still in the hub? Did you just come out of the building? She says, no, we haven't left. We're still sitting in the hub area, which is away in the new building. And we're like, who's just come in? Somebody's just come in, and that was it. Everyone just lost it. And I've never seen people move so fast out of the building. I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. But because we were expecting a person, nobody was really scared at that point. It wasn't until we all realised that there was nobody down the stairs and there's nobody came up the stairs. That's when we were like, oh, hold the bus. What's going on here? So, safe to say, we went out and we never went back into that cell.
It's to say, every jail, they stopped doing it.
That's
2 weeks ago, because they asked us to go, but we had something else on. In fact, I think it was the night before Island kicked it. I think it was Saturday night, and Island and Highland were coming on Sunday, but they've stopped doing them. But it's when you get through, we've had that quite a few times. I think that's a great lad. Great to meet you, Kathleen Boss. I'll catch up tomorrow when look after my wee girl. She's not Laura's daughter. Her kind of niece's time was the right. She's 19. Now, I don't know if you do this, Kat. I don't know if your kids are grown up or whatever, but she's 19. I'd seen people, oh, my baby girl. She's 19. She's an adult. And my mum, when I was 19, called me her baby boy. I think I'd go nuts. Do you know what I mean? That's neither here nor there. Don't worry, she's perfectly safe, Laura. She's in the room with the wee and I don't know what they're doing, but they're safe and sound. They're intact. All right. But no, I mean, that because the one thing surprising is Dunure Castle. I don't know if you've been to Dunure Castle.
No. It's
down the Ayrshire coast. We were there one night, and there's a car park, but the castle sits down right on the coast. So there's a wee bit of distance between the castle and the car park. But so we were all inside the castle. There's a ruin. There's no roof, no nothing in it. But just right outside, there's a gravel path goes along the side of it. You'd need Google the pictures to understand. We were in there and we all heard footsteps on this gravel path. Mind that be?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody heard these footsteps. So I went out to see if there was not a soul there. And there was nowhere for anybody, if it had been an actual person, there was nowhere for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just impossible for me to hide. But everybody heard these footsteps on the gravel, as clear as day. We thought, well, we're all here, so who's that? So I took a wee look. But there were, and I say there's no if they could have done that and ran away. There's nowhere to hide. You know,
but you're all waiting for someone to pop up, and then they don't come, and you're like, oh.
As same as we did a place Caldwell a few years back. We were there for 2 months, and as part of it's a 280 acre estate, and there's old mansion houses they call it, and so there was quite a crowded. So what we did is, in the middle of the estate, there's a road goes round. I called it the circle. So we decided we'll leave the girls in the mansion house and we'll walk round the circle. So we were kind of like 3/4 of the way back up, and we heard this car horn going. And it's no near it. There's a wee road goes by it, but it's a country road, so it's not that busy. But I can hear a car horn. And so everybody else heard it, and we boom, 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 and then we realised it was your car horn. So we all ran back up to the house, and it was the girls who'd heard. What was it you heard?
Talking in the basement. And then somebody saying in the basement, oh, fuck this.
Aye. So the basement's quite intact, so they heard talking and somebody saying F this in the basement. But there was so me and this other guy, we went down the basement. He went one way, I went the other. Totally checked, there was nothing there. Not a soul. Nobody, and then, so I says to the lasses, right, everybody outside, take 10, 15 minutes, have a coffee, have a fag, you know, calm down, then we'll start again. While we're standing outside, we heard footsteps just inside the house. So me and him ran back in, and there was not a soul there.
See, stuff like that. That's why you would do it, isn't it? Stuff like that.
It is. You just somebody made the noises.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we know that part of the house is quite weird. That's where we get most activity. And as soon as you went in the door, is where the main staircase was. It's still quite intact. And that's where the main sort of activity centred around. But we all heard the footsteps. We thought there's somebody, so we ran in. Not a soul. God. And as you say, that's why we're there at Laura's watching the Big Bang. Enjoy, dear. Enjoy. Mm-hmm. And it's, as you said, that's why we do it. It's things like that. And you can tell people about it. As you were saying way earlier on, you could tell your pals at work or whatever. So, aye, we heard footsteps. All right, okay.
Oh, I did you?
Did you? Right, aye. But that's it. And that it all comes down to the personal experience again. You know, like so one night, just quite before we wind up, one night I did a lone walk round Loudon Cut. I think it was Halloween. And I walked in the cut and I was doing the back and I had a hoodie on and I felt 2 tugs on my left sleeve, 2 sharp tugs. Nobody was there. I was the only one there. But I know, because I turned around and looked down, it was as if it was a kid. Mm-hmm. Well, we've got evidence later on about who that was. But you turn and you look down, expecting to see something. But there was nobody there. But again, that's the personal experience.
Yeah.
You know, and you could tell people, aye, okay, did you, right, fine, whatever. You know, probably caught on a branch or something like that or whatever. But you didn't. But, well, I'll keep a hoddy after we come up. I'm going to wind up there because that's an hour and a half we've been on. And I did say about an hour, but however, it's been a good wee chat, I think.
It has been. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. So you will come back and see us again?
Oh, definitely. As long as you have me back.
Okay, aye. Doors always open. I don't mean my front door. I mean, store.
Your virtual door.
Thanks for the chat. Nice to see the face behind the name, Cat.
Thank you.
We need to get back, Scott. I know Sarah won't, but I will. I'm assuming. You talk about Loudon or Caldwell, Laura? I'm assuming she's talking about Caldwell. Don't know. So I'll keep a hoddy after we come off, though. So where can people find you?
So on our website, www.unlockedparanormal.com. What's going on with my camera? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, I can't see your cameras went off.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with it. So yeah, all the socials as well, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the usuals. Just Google Unlocked Paranormal and you'll find us.
Excellent. So give them a wee look up. You will be seeing Kat again if she finds out how to get her camera back on that.
I know what's going on there. Maybe it's the spirits. Maybe they don't want you to find me again.
Well, that's an hour and a half they've put up with. I'm waiting to see. Mag Williamson says, "Well done, Kat."
Oh, so that's Maggie from our team.
All right. That's his Mag. Sorry, Maggie. I said Mag. Apologies, dear. Night Island doll. I'm going to see what Laura puts up. What she's talking. I'm assuming she's talking about Caldwell.
She will be. She will be.
She's no answered yet. Oh, there she's back.
I'm back. See, I told you I was rubbish with this tech stuff.
Oh, so this is before we come on. See, this isn't going. I panic. You know, I've had nights where it's maybe like 10 to 9. No tea in Merlar. What? A tea's your daughter. That's what Laura calls it in Mel's Laura's daughter, but I don't know what she means. No tea in Merlar.
Watching Big Bang, maybe.
All right, watching Big Bang. So they're watching Big Bang, right? So where do you need to get back to, Laura? That's what I asked you. Come on, cough it up. Oh no, I mean there's been nights where it would be 5-10 minutes before you start the show, and something will go wrong, and I panic. You think it's the end of the world? You think it's Armageddon or something? You know the 4 horsemen are going to appear at your door or something like that. You think, what's happening? What's happening? This isn't working. Why is this not working? I pressed the button. I'm one of these, if you press the button, it should work. You know, if it doesn't work, I'm buggered, basically. She's no doubt she'll tell me where we're meant to go. So we're going to wind up here, folks. You will be seeing Kat again. Really enjoyed our wee chat tonight. So gave him a wee, I was going to say unblocked again. I don't know why I've got unblocked. Unlocked Paranormal. Who came up with the name anyway? Actually, before we go, where did the name come from?
It was me and one of the girls, Sharon. We just had a brainstorming day and we thought unlocked because the whole premise of what we want to do is to try and unlock the paranormal for the public, give the public access to paranormal events and just try and unlock the general understanding of the paranormal world.
Right, unlock the mystery. It's quite a good week. Because it was TikTok I found you on actually. Caldwell. I think it was TikTok. I can't remember, you were doing one of your videos. It's amazing the amount of people that are on TikTok that are into the paranormal. There are some cabbages, I will say that. You know, I don't mind using that word. Some of the videos you watch, Rigger, he's the co-founder of Scottish Paranormal Investigations Group. SPIG, we call them. We started doing a new show last month. We got another one coming soon. Hardly Paranormal, we're calling it. You know these daft videos you get. You know, there's one family in particular. They're on Facebook and TikTok quite a bit, and they've got activity 24/7 and all the rest of it. You know, cereal boxes and you need to watch it. So we started doing this because enough's enough. You know, these people, but people are actually watching. I read a lot of the comments, and people are, oh wow, you need to get an exorcist in. You know, so you just need to change your cereal because obviously it doesn't like Rice Krispies because these are buying off the fridge. So buy cornflakes or something. Your answer just came up there, though. Your answer just came up. But they're constantly. I mailed them, and I says, look, your videos will be called out more times than bingo numbers. Totally fake, and they blocked me. Don't know why.
Oh, I wonder why.
There's another group that gave name the same answer because they were putting up videos saying girl ghost appears at top of stairs. So you'd watch it and nothing would happen. Say, well, where is she?
Yeah.
You know, or watch what happens when this lady touches the doll. But nothing happened, you know, and it's just off crap. So that's how we started this Hardly Part. We're not trying to be crusaders or anything for the paranormal or anything like that. We're just, it's Rigger's idea. We're just going to do this show and just show some. You can't show every video because you know yourself, Kat, there's that much crap out there.
Aye.
You've been there for decades trying to show every stupid video. Caldwell only came up once. Kat will verify that.
It did only come up once.
Only came up once, though. That's how I've just seen it. So we started doing that as well because don't get me, I can rant all night about these folks, you know what I mean? But we're going to wind up there, folks. You will see Kat again. So a big thanks to this lady over here for coming on. And a big thanks to everybody in the chat. We're back on Wednesday night. We're on at 8 o'clock Wednesday night, actually, with our good friends GSI. They're coming back. GSI is one of the first teams that's what I was talking about earlier on. We interviewed 5 years ago or something like that. And we've invested. We've done Sherwood Forest with them, and they're coming up to see us this year. They're for Nottingham. They're well worth a watch. Kat, GSI.
Tune
in. So they're on 8 o'clock on Wednesday night because one of the founders, John, he needs to get to his bed. You know, he's getting to that stage now. He needs his early bed. So he always says, "Can we do it at 8 o'clock, mate? Because I need to get to my bed." You feel sorry for the guy, you know. What can I say? So, right, definitely winding up this time. And we see you on Wednesday, 8 o'clock. You see this lady again. All right. I'm swearing. Did I swear there? How did I swear? Right, Laura, what did I say that I swore? Hurry up and type, because we're going to wind this up. Go on. See when you're waiting somebody comment, but it takes an eternity, doesn't it?
It's like waiting for a kettle to boil.
Aye. We'll get one of the one-touch kettles that boils. Great invention, that.
Oh, I've got the old-fashioned one.
I keep that for my gravy. See, when I'm making gravy, I get the old kettle out the cupboard for the gravy, but it's what? They one-touch kettles, it takes 30 seconds or something, that cup of coffee. So it's amazing. I mean, because the missus sees any all the wee gadgets, you know, no doubt you are as well, kitchen-wise. Something new comes out, she's got to get it. And I right here.
Air fryer for me.
I was looking at gadgets, the new there.
She's still looking at gadgets. I do get the double air fryer. They're great things, I know. I'm a chef, you see, but they're great things, air fryers. But I still like the old oven. You can't be cooking your bacon and your square and that in the oven. Right, come on, Laura. How am I swearing? Laura's got a new phone. And she's not 100% on how to use it yet.
See.
You see, so. Go on and ask her how she was swearing.
She's not answered me either.
She might have fell asleep. I'll find out. I don't remember swearing. Right, definitely, I think this is about 40. There was one night I did a show, and I had to try to wind up about 7 or 8 times. Ended up another half. But you get that way, you see, you're going to say goodnight, and then something else pops into your head. You know,
it's like trying to leave a party at the end of the night.
I think it makes for a good show. I've watched shows the past, Kat, and you just want to go and rebury your granny. Do you know what I mean? That's how it's basically. And they're very formal and straight and all the rest. You think, no, mate, you know. I think you just talk a load of crap. You know, we do talk paranormal, obviously, but we've done a few shows we just talk absolute bollocks for an hour and a half. And it breaks it up, and people tend to enjoy it. And you do lose track of time, but Laurie, you had your chance, though. You can let us know how I swore, and we're going to say goodnight. So we see you on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. All right, folks, take care. Bye. Bye.